on Season 4, Episode 42, where we watched What the Love, Season 1, Episode 1 and 4-ish. We'll talk about it. I'm Chris Lorenz. I don't know how we're going to point out everyone's names.
We'll raise hands for who's next. Here. Side note, this is all happening over Skype because, like everybody listening to this, we're all quarantined. Anyway, this is Max. I don't have a fun name this week because everything's terrible. Brian's up next.
I'm Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, this is James.
Hey, James.
This is No Singer.
Whoa.
And Robert Kitts.
Cool.
Yeah, so we'll see how this works out. The audio quality is going to be a little, I think a little poor this week comparatively, so bear with us. Hopefully it's better than the last time, but
This might be a one-time experiment. This might be the future of Who Put This On. We'll see.
We're all getting deeper and deeper into this quarantine situation, so we did the right thing. Didn't get together this week, and we used Netflix Party app. We watched the show, and now we're all on Skype, and we're recording it off Skype. So,
Yep.
that's kind of the situation. Everyone's dealing with it, so I don't know if we really need to get too deep into it. But Rob, why don't you give us the show description?
So this is a Netflix show, so a pretty sparse show description. With help from a glam squad and celebrity guests, filmmaker Karen Johar mentors 6 singletons through their personal struggles as they look for love. That's What the Love with Karen Johar on Netflix.
Yeah, so the way the show came about is we were at our friend's house, and he has watched a bunch of Indian shows, and there was a new Indian reality show on Netflix, and I'm like, we did an Indian reality show before. We're always looking for crazy new reality shows, so I'm like, we gotta do this one. So if you're, you can listen to this pod and watch your first Indian reality show, most likely, because where else are you going to be able to do that?
Yeah. Unlike last time, you don't have to go to voot.com to get this one. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, you don't have to VPN in and go through a bunch of hoops to watch that one. So, yeah. So the first episode was kind of like this not weird, but other shows do this, but it was kind of just him picking the 6 candidates in a giant mixer situation. And so we watched 10, 15 minutes of that, and we're like, this doesn't feel like the real show. So then we watched episode 4, which was the real show, where they picked a candidate, Vaibhav, that went through a series of, series of vignettes, I guess, around opening himself up and learning where he struggles in dating, and then going on a date, and then going on a second date, and then picking the person and moving on from there. So it was just kind of picks the person, and then they can go on a second date. It's really that simple. There's nothing that complicated in the show.
It's kind of like Queer Eye for dating.
It's
kind of.
It's Queer Eye mixed with other shows, and I can't place what the other ones are, but there's definitely a Queer Eye influence on the show.
Yeah, there's degrees of the makeover,
actually,
a bunch of things. Yeah,
the thing where they set up sort of a main person with 2 dates reminds me of a show we just watched called Dance with the Other Person, the show on NBC.
Flirty Dancing.
Oh, Flirty Dancing, yeah.
On Fox Max.
It's all the fucking same. You're all going to be merged by next week.
That's Fox's new slogan, by the way. It's all the fucking same.
I really got the Flirty Dancing vibe strong when one of the dates was a dancing game.
Oh, yeah. I will say, shout out to the host, Chris, here, for making that call to switch episodes a little bit into it. Because I do feel like that first episode, I was definitely losing interest pretty quick. So if anybody's listening or going to watch the show, keep in mind the first is definitely quite different from the real show.
Yeah, so like a couple shows do this, like Married at First Sight does this, where they're like, hey, we went around the country and interviewed all these people. Isn't this interesting? And I'm like, no, it's not interesting. Let's move on.
But the
Like,
thing is,
just
like, it's a
show-
good intro to people.
Is it? It's a bunch of
Yeah.
people, but it's a good intro to people I eventually just don't care about.
Like, you didn't
Like-
care about the people on Married at First Sight?
No. Well, some of the people you get intro to people they actually pick, but you also get a bunch of intros to people that they don't.
Here's
Gotcha.
another way to look at it, Brian. The episode that we just watched, we did not have the intro of that person on the amount of show we watched in episode 1. And do you think it mattered?
No. I mean, but the thing is, like, I don't watch, like, too much of Married at First Sight, so I was, like, more interested in, hey, did it affect that show more than this show? Like, they could easily skip the first episode of this one.
Right. That's kind of my point on this. Like, I think for this show, it was very clear that, like, you can easily skip episode 1. It's irrelevant.
You can also do that.
No, we did give it a chance, to be fair.
We watched, like, 18 minutes.
But
we
then
watched 10 minutes.
There was like a wheel. So there was some contest, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we just don't know what it was about.
Sure.
I'm going to back up Noah here because, like, definitely this first episode, the second half was going to be very different than the party first half, and we don't know what the second half was. But having said that, I still think it was better to watch a quote-unquote real episode. So the season is 7 episodes. The first one is this party. They somehow pick 6, and then each episode after that focuses on one of the different people.
Yeah, I just want, like, for this podcast, I want, like, the real show.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do one of the real episodes instead of this, like, intro episode. Which, sometimes we get stuck in those intro episodes and it's kind of lame. So, who knows? The second half of this episode could have been fine. But I think from what we watched, it was very imperative to kind of move on.
Well, Slate, but I'm not going to do stuff. I found the intro episode kind of boring. I found the main episode also kind of boring. Like, neither one really blew me away, I gotta admit.
Are we entering the minutia yet?
Yeah, we're minutia for sure.
Oh, okay.
I agree with you, Rob. I was kind of bored by the actual episode, too. It's also, like, I don't really like watching, well, we'll get to it, I guess, a little later, but I don't really like watching, like, cringy stuff. And to watch this dude that's, like, really bad at dating to go on a really bad date just is, like, not that fun, you know? But I guess the first thing to really talk about is the host of the show.
Oh, yeah. We gotta talk about the host.
So, I don't know how to pronounce Indian names, so I apologize. His name's Karan Johar. I don't know if that's...
Yeah, that's good.
That's probably as good as I'm going to get. He's like a director of Indian rom-coms and is what I got, and writer. I don't know if the Internet Corner has anything more to say about that, but everyone was excited to meet him. I don't know what any of his movies are.
He's reasonably famous for an Indian person.
I mean, I'm sure he'd be like a pretty, like, there's an equivalent director in America.
He's the Vin Diesel of India.
Like, how many directors do you know by, like, sight? Or writers do you know by sight? So, like, that seems pretty popular.
Are we sure he's just
wrong?
Are we sure he's a director and not an actor also?
No, we're not.
He's not like, this is director George Clooney, who, is more famous for other things than his directing.
Well, I went to his IMDb, and, like, his top things are, like, him writing and producing stuff, so I just assumed that. But he could be more, I don't know.
I'll get back to you.
Alright. Yeah. So his name is literally on the show. So he's the one pulling this through. And he's actually in the show a bunch too. He's not just a LeBron James where he's just like, hey, intro video. Like, he interviews the people. He does the podcast within the show, which is great. That was fun. He does the commentary. Love that.
All right. So to give context on this guy, he got famous through romance movies, which makes him a good figure for a dating show. And then he kind of transitioned that to be a general like TV personality. So he does like India's Got Talent, right? So I don't know if there's a comparable figure in America because directors here don't generally like go off and do other things. They're more like reclusive. You can kind of think of it maybe like a Snoop Dogg in a way, where kind of a rapper. He was a big producer, and then he just came off and started cooking with Martha Stewart.
I love imagining this guy's the Snoop Dogg of India.
Oh.
Also, I love Max. I love being able to see Max pour himself a cool one over there.
Yeah, I went out today and I got 2 bottles of whiskey. One is a nice one. One is Evan Williams. Evan Williams is not nice, but he gets the job done.
Well done, Max. We're proud of you.
Well, so after the first episode, we meet a couple people. I think there's only one person one moment that I really want to talk about, that I have minutia about. We meet this person named Creepy. She's a student, and she says she's a virgin. And then Noah asked the question, is she a real virgin or a Christian virgin? And I want Noah to explain Noah's
Noah is giving us the cut it off sign. You dug this hole for yourself, dig yourself out of it.
There are some conversations which are podcast conversations, some conversations which are not podcast conversations. I'll let someone else go into this one. That's that.
The internet corner has been censored.
Okay, I'm gonna take this as one of the resident non-Christians in the room. My understanding of this, and I could be wrong, is if you do oral, you're not a virgin on Christian virgin. But if you do oral, you are still a virgin on the non-Christian are you a virgin or not. Is that roughly correct, Noah? Was that too complicated?
There could be more to this, though. It's everything but something.
I'm not getting 60 Minutes here where you I'm not confirming or denying any of this. I'm just saying there's some conversations that are for the podcast, some conversations that don't have it on the podcast.
All right.
Noah, the whole world is ending. We can talk about whatever the fuck we want.
I mean, I am glad I'm doing the most important thing then.
Noah told us today that whenever his girlfriend walks into his apartment, he says, "Take off all your clothes."
I did say that. I did say that.
There is a lot more context there, but world's ending. We can say whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, I will back that up. I did say that, and I don't think any other context is needed. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
All right, so the actual episode we watched.
Well, I 2 quick things on the party thing.
Okay.
One is there was this part of why that part of the show was very good. There's a scene where he's talking to 2 people, a man and a woman, and then he's like, I didn't realize they were gay, and they were, I thought they were talking to each other because they're interested in each other. But he has that conversation with them, and then it cuts to a confessional where he explains the whole situation to us again. And it's we just saw it. You don't need to see it again. And then it cuts back, and you saw more of their conversation together. It's it was just very strangely edited in a not interesting way. And there's also this thing where there's a guy there looking for love who's a rapper, and another guy who had a very DJ Pauly D vibe, and they do some beatboxing and improv rapping, and it's everything you'd imagine it would be.
It was great.
Those are my 2 thoughts on the party part of the show.
I feel with that rap, it was so hard to tell if it was good or terrible. The rhythms and words seemed to rhyme, but it was all in Hindi, so I have no idea what he was rapping about.
Agreed.
But it seemed interesting.
It was not all in Hindi. It was a good 30%
There's some English.
Yeah, it's some English. Yeah.
Yeah. Gully Boy style.
Yeah.
I choose to believe it was terrible.
The rap was okay. I had the captions on. He basically was like, I'm here, I'm rapping, I'm really cool.
Yeah, the problem I've talked to though.
That in Hindi.
Yeah,
be
they don't
English
translate.
Translation. Doesn't matter at all.
No, but the rhyme scheme was on, like, that worked, and so you kind of get the idea.
So I've had some conversations with some native Hindi speakers about the movie Gully Boy, and when I was starting to ask them about like some of the rap and the lyrics, they clearly responded with like, "Oh no, it is it is very not close to what was subtitled or translated. Like it's very, in many cases, it's hard to do like literal translations because you're often using slang or similar things. So I gotta imagine there's some degree of that here. It's just hard to know without like knowing the language. I feel like we gotta have somebody that kind of has some of that.
I can imagine the same thing with English rapping.
Right.
So back to the episode we actually watched, episode 4, where we meet our contestant, our entrant, Vaibhav. He is a CA, which we're still confused what a CA is, but he works at a law firm.
Corporate accounting.
He works a lot of hours. And
it's a chartered accountant.
Damn it, I was so close.
It's like a CPA in the U.S.
So is he like pass the test and do all that?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's just kind of like awkward and cringy. Not cringy, but he's just, it's hard to describe.
Think of a like well-dressed nerd who doesn't know how to talk to girls. That's this guy. He could easily. He just needs to get out of his head. Is that good?
Yeah. I would say he also got like very stiff and uncomfortable, and like you could just tell he was on the edge of nerves. Like he didn't quite know how to handle the situation.
He's quite a good-looking guy too. It's not like he was unattractive, but he said that he used to weigh a bunch. He used to weigh 105 kilos, which is about 230 pounds. Somebody said in the chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely difficult at that point, which he lost the weight, and
there's like looks like he's intro. In great shape now.
Yeah. So he comes in and talks to our boy, Mr. Johar.
Karan Johar.
Karan. I don't want to say Karen. And it's like spelled Karen. So
KJ. No, he's KJ.
Either way is fine, Karen. But he goes by Keijo.
Keijo. Oh.
Is that true?
Keijo. Oh.
According to Wikipedia.
Keijo. Okay.
All right. So he meets like Keijo does this initial interview. And he's real awkward. He doesn't really know how to act. As like probably most people wouldn't know how to act if they were being interviewed by like one of their like a celebrity on like national TV. I feel like that would be a pretty awkward situation for most of us in general, let alone to talk about your dating life and your love life in general. Like, I think at some point somebody asked him if he didn't ask him. Somebody asked, like, would you have any torn jeans? Which I was very confused about. Is that, like, does he dress up at all? Like, there was just some kind of, like, one-on-one conversation going on there. Then they do a prep date. What the prep? So all of these kind of things kind of had like a what the blank because we're in what the love.
Side note,
it was
just
funny.
Like what a bad name for a show and what a bad catchphrase. Just like what are they doing?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard because it's like
what they're doing. Sure,
it's bad. It's bad here. Is it bad there? I don't know.
We will have to dial in our Indian friends about this because, like, Hinglish does have its own sort of inventions. Like, have you guys encountered "Please do the needful"?
Oh yeah.
That just means like do the thing that needs to be done, which is not valid English, but it is valid Hinglish with an H. Anyway, continuing.
Yeah. So we get to do a prep date. That's his first thing. Where he goes on a date with Sunny Leone, a celebrity. Brian, I feel like you looked up Sunny Leone.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us who this person is?
So her name is Karanjit Karavora. and she is a former pornographic actress, but currently active in the Indian film industry as an actress and model. And what I also found funny later was the host was like, I'm a really big fan of yours. And I just kept thinking, is it the pornographic stuff or is it the new stuff?
I thought porn in India was illegal. Am I wrong?
I don't think it's illegal. I would bet that it's probably extremely frowned upon, so maybe, I don't know.
We need the internet corner. Noah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she also said that she would only do lesbian sex scenes. That's the only other thing I see.
Huh.
So what's the verdict on...
This is such an interesting podcast. So I guess
World's ending, guys.
I just searched her name and this is what came up.
Man, this podcast is really going to fall off the rails in like another month's time. We're all getting so weird.
So Bob, when he recognized her, what was he more familiar with her work, do you think? Because he was nervous to talk to her.
Definitely do the porn.
I feel like both. I feel like, he's definitely watched too much. He's watched both. You see her as an actress, you Google her, and you're like, oh, she's a porn actress. Oh. Then you just watch the videos. Like, why wouldn't you? I would.
Chris would.
All right, so...
I mean, either way, like, she is a good-looking, like, actor. Like, I think in this dude's seat, like, it's not uncommon for him to be nervous in this situation. Like, there's a great-looking woman sitting next to him. He doesn't know how to act, is the, like, takeaway.
Yeah,
like,
so,
go ahead, Noah.
I want to close the hole on the porn. So
he's closing the loop, guys.
Fun fact: Googling India porn, the top result is still Wikipedia about pornography in India, which is good. Everything else below that, well, you get what you ask for. But so pornography in India is illegal, but it doesn't look to be like strongly enforced. So they talk about how they went around some vendors in one city, and like a fifth had like porn like openly displayed, right? And some had it like maybe in a dark section or something, right? So it's probably in that realm of just like not.
Well, can you if you can't sell it, how do you produce it?
Well, again, it is illegal. You can't have it, but it just looks like people don't really give a shit for the most part.
There tend to be markets for illegal things, Chris. I don't know if you're aware of this.
Yeah, but like when you have all the porn from America that you can just sell, like, would you be making your own illegal porn? I don't know.
It's dirtier that way.
I mean, yeah.
So here's this was the cringiest part of the show. Was him on this date with like probably like a B, C-list level celebrity, which I also would be really awkward about, like going on a date with this person like out of nowhere. Like there's no prep for this really. It's just like, oh, we're gonna go on this weird kind of date, and this celebrity pops out. I would be very nervous, and it was very cringeworthy.
Yeah, like it was a bad position to put this guy in, but also any girl could have popped out there, and he probably would have been exactly the same.
Yeah, I do think that it takes us to the next level to be like have a quote unquote celebrity. We're not sure how popular she is, but
he recognized her on the spot.
It's true. The whole point of the date was to learn to make the first move, which he does not do, or did not do. It's unclear if he learned this lesson or not in the following dates at all.
I feel like this segment was much more like less about the date quote unquote aspect or date prep. Like that was a degree of it, but it was also just an opportunity to sort of learn about Vaibhav a bit and like kind of get a sense for who he is, why he's struggling, like what's going on. Like, oh, okay, he's kind of struggling with these things, etc. That was kind of my takeaway. So like, I didn't necessarily see it as quote unquote cringeworthy. I just saw it more as like, oh, kind of like shocking, a little surprising. I'm like kind of learning about this guy a little bit. Like, okay, I kind of get it. Like, I see what he's going through.
Yeah, like when you get through the episodes, at the end of it, as you imagine, he goes from ugly duckling to glorious swan, whatever you want to call it. It's such a stark transition. I wonder if he was like hamming it up a little bit in the beginning.
And I mean, he was just really nervous. As soon as you get past the nervousness and be more yourself, like that's probably how he acts at his job, in his real life, with his family. He's just nervous in these situations.
I don't know. He went from a cute triangle to kissing a girl on the hand.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The cute triangle was.
You gotta explain the cute triangle.
I actually forgot the actual the setup. If someone else remembers
it. He says, "Should I try a pickup line on you?" She says, "Sure." And his pickup line is, "If you were a triangle, you'd be a cute one," which is the best kind of pickup line, a math reference.
I was like, that would work in your algebra class or your geometry class.
I don't think it even works in your algebra class, Chris. I just think it doesn't work in any circumstance.
More specifically, okay, so sort of the ordering of this was, first she says, "Hey, you should ask me on a date." He says, "Hey, you want to go on a coffee date?" She says, "Sure." Then they start pouring wine, which is not coffee. Then he says, "Hey, do you want to hear a pickup line?" Like, what the fuck? Anyway, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, they were supposed to be in like improv date mode, right? So like,
Max,
yeah.
It's what the love.
What the love?
Well, she was also like, "Oh yeah, let's go on a coffee date," and I don't know what the hell like was going to happen there. Like, were they just going to walk out of there and just like go to a coffee shop with the cameraman going behind them?
No, not at all. It was acting. It was improv. They're like, "Hey, act it out. We're on a date. Pretend I'm your date. Go."
All right. Yeah. It was terrible transition.
Oh yeah.
To the next thing. Rob, you have something to say?
One last thing so Keijo is watching this on a TV from a chair, like documental style.
Very Hitoshi Matsumoto. I was thinking that for sure.
Me too.
And like, I don't know if he's actually watching it live. They try to make it seem like he's watching it live, or maybe he's watching this like 2 weeks later and just filming some reactions to it. But there's all these like cutaways of just him making like bug eye faces whenever Vaibhav does something he doesn't approve of, and it's kind of strange.
And he's got all these like little comments that he inserts. It's great. It's fantastic.
Definitely, like as we always like to opine on the production schedule, asynchronous.
Who knows?
Oh yeah, he's only there for like the couch thing at the end, and he does all those things after everything's filmed. For sure.
Yeah, and they're like back to back, right? They're popping these out, and then Keijo's time is expensive, right? So they got writers for him to pop the lines in, and he's going like date to date.
He was there for the date, for the prep date.
Oh yeah.
He was there for the prep date, and he was there for the reveal in the end, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
But I really like to believe that he was watching it. Like, if you go from an entertainment perspective, it's much more fun to just buy into the idea of the way the show presents itself, which is like, hey, this guy's really in it. He's trying to like get this guy on his date, see if there's love, blah blah blah. He's got these real time, witty banters. It's great. But
I mean,
yeah, reality doesn't say that.
He definitely sat down and watched it and made some one-liners, but then the writers were like, "Hey, make these one-liners too, so they can fit them into the show." So the next segment was the mindset, where they brought on Kaniz and did like an improv lesson, which I thought that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it seemed like the whole goal of that one was all about like getting him out of his like shell a little bit, kind of loosen him up, do some like activities and kind of mental and physical exercises to kind of like get him out of his shell essentially a little bit before a date.
Get him used to being on camera doing stupid stuff.
Sure.
Then after that was the look, where they brought in two people. Somebody was named Manika. I didn't catch the other person. They styled his hair. Sean. They styled his hair and gave him some new outfits to wear. he was very, very businessy when he walked in. He was very much more casual, like go with the flow afterwards.
They were really ragging on him for being so businessy.
Yeah.
Is it not like,
I don't know. I feel like he's got to dress like that to go to work.
Mm-hmm. We don't know what he does. He's a CA. Like
we went over this.
Shit about. Like, does everyone know what a CA is?
We are. Everyone listening knows it is because we just talked.
We assumed it was an accountant. We made that assumption for the audience.
Max went to the internet corner. I think he verified.
All right.
This has all been taken care of. It's a CPA in the U.S.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, we did talk about this, Noah.
The internet was being rebooted at the time.
So to bring it back, this is definitely the sequence that had the most Queer Eye vibes during it. Of like, because we got to talk a little bit about this hairstylist guy and his interesting look.
Oh yeah, he was wearing this like Native American style jacket, which was just kind of off-putting as an American, and like seeing what has happened and try not to like be in that kind of zone. It was just like, and then his haircut was just bonkers.
Chris, it's an Indian guy wearing an Indian garb. What's wrong with that?
Well, can't say that. So he was bald and he had this beard, or he didn't have a beard. He had like the very top of like around his ears. Like it's so hard to describe this guy's outfit. It's gonna be the picture, so just look at the show description and you'll see this guy. It's nuts.
He was very adamant about the beard game and making a defined chin line.
Yeah, he was like, I don't have a good chin line, so I make mine own. Whereas you have a good chin line. Let's reveal that in your beard. So he shaves his neck, which is what I do. Revealing on the inside.
Oh, man.
And that was like the end of the segments. There was no more there was no what the date. There was no what the second date. Like, I feel like they dropped the ball.
Yeah, where was what the decision at the very end?
Yeah, there was no what does left. So then he goes on his first date. His first date with Shruti. And they go on a pool date. I don't know if there's a lot to say other than they order drinks and she asked for a cranberry and he asked for the same thing, but then they're not drinking 2 cranberries. So I'm very confused. We're like, he's drinking some like orange juicy kind of look. Orange juicy kind of drink.
Looked like he got kind of like a screwdriver or something while she had a cranberry juice. Unclear if there was vodka in it or not.
There is. I wonder if there's something going on with Indian TV shows not allowing alcohol rules or something. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense to not just order, or maybe if you order a cranberry at the bar, you just get a cranberry vodka.
There are rules against that stuff. They can't explicitly advertise alcohol without something else. They usually advertise a CD along with a bottle of Smirnoff. But I don't know if that would apply to I guess it could also be the smoking rules where they explicitly say yeah, this is bad for you. I don't know.
It's possible.
Could be. Yeah, maybe they had to say that, right? But then there's a really bad producer. And they're just just say whatever, but really get a drink you want.
That's really probably what happened. It probably was several takes, and it's all right, we need to get an actual drink in here, not just.
Well, the kind of thing is when Vaibhav says, "Oh, give me 2, I'll just have that." I was like, no, the whole point is you're supposed to lead and be able to have your own thing, and I thought it was a sign of how he's not getting it, and then he just has a different drink anyway. It's the producers definitely were intervening in some mysterious way. I don't understand.
There was definitely he was supposed to be leading, and Shruti was leading this whole day.
Oh, for
she
sure.
Was like, hey, you want to go over here? hey, I have a special surprise for you. It's a full day.
This was such a producer fucked up thing. Yeah, sorry, I'm drunk, but yes, it was all producers.
As he poured himself
the world,
guys.
Oh, Max, that's great. I mean, now that you say that, though, I think I agree with you. At the time, I wasn't really seeing it fully, but yeah, in hindsight, definitely she was leading the charge on the date.
Skype check. Can anyone hear me?
Yeah. We're good to go, man.
All right.
The technology is working. But
your videos are kind of not working for me anymore. So
oh no.
Just as a background check on you'll have to ping me if you can't hear me.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
We can also do reactions if we really want to chat.
No, it's fine.
See those.
Some great radio right here.
Yeah, let's keep debugging it. But so I thought of the dates, and we should get into the second one. I thought the lady on the first date was a bit more I thought she was good looking and approachable, seemed kind of like a fun personality. So she definitely seemed much more of a, in my opinion, approachable date compared to the second one. I don't know if anybody else was getting those vibes.
I definitely got that vibe.
Yeah, I think he was reaching a little bit on the second. But yeah, the first. I was gonna say we can move on to the second one unless anyone has to say about the first one. The second one, he was on a date with Nancy, a salsa dancer, and okay, now I think I'm finished.
Yeah, she was a choreographer as well, and I believe a teacher. Unclear if she was a dance teacher or some sort of instructional teacher of some other capacity. She never kind of specified, but I'm gonna assume dance, just because I have nothing else to go on.
I assume that there's just a lot more. She's a dance teacher. I don't think she's a choreographer for anything but dance or anything else. As we found out when we went to India, there's a lot more demand for dancers and dance choreographers than there is here. A lot more people are dancing at weddings, and a lot more people need choreographers, and they're willing to pay. It's definitely a much bigger business than it is here.
Well, I mean, a business, yes, but I would even just say culturally, dance is such a bigger part of life. I feel like, and it's not uncommon to go out and for an evening and there will be dance at any bar or kind of club or kind of get together kind of place. It seems like might be overspeaking a little bit there, but I don't know. It just seems like people are generally much more into dance, comparatively so to here.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And so yeah, I mean to that point, you see it more in movies and things and a lot of aspects. So commercials even, etc., that are on just TV. So I'm not surprised that there's a bunch of dance people. Makes sense.
Even through his behavioral stuff, one of the ways that she was trying to get him to calm down was hey, just do a little dance and count down. So hey, it's just fun, casual stuff. Versus I wouldn't expect myself to calm down based off dancing.
Gotta be dancing.
I mean, the one cringeworthy thing on this date I felt was they were both sitting down at this table. Then some guy came over and asked if he could dance with her, and he said yes. That's the wrong answer.
But no, we got to throw so much shit on this guy. They were clearly on a date with each other, and some asshole just comes up and says "Can I dance with you?"
This place appeared to be dedicated to dance. It might be okay there. I don't know. Also, side note: this guy had the grossest goatee I've ever seen.
Side note. So I have a hot take for you. Brian, you go first.
2 things. 1, I bet it was a producer plant. 2, I think it showed confidence that, hey, I don't care. You're going to come back to me. Whatever.
Not on a first date, but I agree with you. It's a producer thing because at the end of this date, they all got in a circle and clapped, and they like around and did like terrible things. He didn't know how to salsa at all. They kept showing the same clip over and over again, and everyone was just all happy. So like this whole thing was set up, and I got all these people to like just kind of make this happy moment. So like the dancing was just a way for her to show off.
Yeah, but then also like they kept asking like, "Oh yeah, were you?" Or she kept asking, "Were you jealous?" And it was just like that was complete setup. And it's like just trying to get like some of those like fears and self doubt like out of the way.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like this part of it is kind of where the immersion breaks down for me a little bit, and it does feel much more producer influenced or producer stage setup, whatever you want to call it, right? Because I feel like up until this point, you could kind of buy into it, pretty believable, but it does start to really kind of feel that producer press kind of coming in here. Like once they all got in a circle and started clapping around these people, like it was just like, okay, this whole situation is staged.
Yeah, definitely was staged. Definitely a problem.
One thing with Vaibhav about his dating thing is he kept asking how the date was going to the people during the date. It's like, dude, you gotta chill out and ask her literally anything else.
Yeah, that's not showing confidence.
No.
No. He's like, so at the end of this, so the next segment was they bring in, what's his name?
Keijo.
Keijo, and ask him, how does he feel? Are you Vaibhav 2.0? And we're all like, he's like Vaibhav 1.2, maybe 1.5. Like, he's still kind of nervous, doesn't really know what he's doing, asking dumb questions, and letting women lead him, as opposed to being led, or as leading. So he's getting there. He wasn't quite where the show made it seem like he was.
He was Vaibhav 1.1, 1.2.
Yeah. So the twist, I guess we find out, is he only gets to pick one of them, even though he got both their numbers at the end of the dates. So that's kind of...
I will say, this is unlike most other reality shows where the dude and people like have their phones on them. So he straight up asked for both girls' numbers at the end of each date. And Keijo is very impressed with this move.
I mean, yeah. He
that was
picked...
definitely the point Keijo was more impressed with him than any other point.
Oh, yeah. But then, like,
no,
really...
he was more impressed with the kiss. The hand kiss, I thought.
Oh, okay.
Yo, let's get to the end, though, because I feel like the end... I feel like the show was kind of interesting. Like, an interesting wrap-up one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Keijo asks him, hey, which girl do you like the most? And he picks Nancy, even though he thinks he should pick Shruti because they seem to have better connection. I think that we all thought that. But he went with Nancy again. And then there's this giant door, and if Nancy likes him too, Nancy will come out the other door, which is a very... we've seen this before. Where have we seen this before?
Flirty dancing?
Flirty dancing definitely had a segment like this.
Like, that just reminded me of, like, the Monty Hall problem, where it's like, are you sure you want to pick that door? I don't know.
Well, flirty dancing didn't have a door, though.
No, flirty dancing has, like, you pick the person, and do they show up? Do they not show up?
I mean, that's very much this show, though. Like, he picks the person, and then that person is either going to come out of that door or they're not. I think it would have been interesting if only one of the girls could have been like a yes, and they're the one behind the doors, but depending on his answer, it like sees if it even qualifies. Like, oh, you picked the wrong one. You don't even get a chance now.
Well, I think that could happen. Maybe depends on how the show's set up.
Yeah,
like that's the idea, is that if you pick one and they don't like you, you don't get to go to the other one.
Right, for sure.
I was kind of disappointed. Like, so we don't know if Shruti's decided to pick him or not. We don't like see or hear from Shruti ever again. And I would have liked to deal that, or give Shruti the email. One of our favorite segments of, hey, Shruti didn't find love on the show, but you could email the network, email Netflix to get in touch with Shruti if you'd like to date Shruti. I think that's something they should add.
Agree completely, yeah.
I mean, maybe we just don't know. There's a What the Love cinematic universe of Indian dating reality shows.
I just don't think that she needs help. You know, she's not people on If You Are the One.
Guess that's true.
You're gonna have so much time for reality shows, you guys. I can't fucking believe it.
I mean, it's gonna be interesting. There's gonna be like a pause of taping reality shows. It's gonna be that big jump from like January 2020 to like July 2020.
Got it. Yeah. I kind of want to get some. So, is there any other minutia to get into?
Side note, I do want to talk about German Bachelor after we do ratings.
Literally, Max, like, we're going to get to that after. Let's do the ratings.
Let's do the ratings. Max, what do you got?
Chris. Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm going to go middle third, middle of the middle. It was very middle.
Brian, what do you got?
I think I'm gonna go with like top of the middle. It was very close to being the top third, but I really compared this like Queer Eye where like they were like improving him, but I didn't really feel like there was much structure to it, and I kind of want to watch other shows to see like what they improve on.
Rob, what do you got?
I'm might be a contrarian in this one. I'm putting in the bottom. I just found this show kind of boring, and like. There are elements of other shows that were better, but I don't think it executed it very well. And I was just not. And maybe part of the problem was just I didn't find Faithbomb that interesting. Maybe another show with a different main person. But the party show did not make me think the problem was just the episode. That it was just there's something fundamentally like not right about the way that the show. And maybe it's one of those cultural difference things. Like something about just the way they're presenting it is not syncing with my expectations. But it was not that interesting to me.
Noah, what do you got?
In the words of Jay Sherman, it stinks. I'm a Rob. It's a nothing burger in the words of Max. Like, there's nothing unique about it. The lines aren't that good. The producers clearly don't have their shit in order with the whole cranberry debacle. So I'm putting in the bottom, but middle of the bottom. There is worse content out there, so I'm going to leave some space over there.
Are you really burning them that hard for the fucking drink?
We don't know what else we just didn't catch. It's like the brown M&M's thing. Like, it's the little details that actually make the whole difference.
Fair.
James, what do you got?
So this show for me, I'm a little less negative than some, but I found it entertaining while, like, I found it more fun to just sort of kick back and like hope that it's real or believe it's real or whatever and just kind of go along for the ride. And I felt like if you kind of approach it that way, I was entertained and found some fun in it. But yeah, overall, there's a couple of things that just keep it from the top, so it's going right in the middle.
This one's a tough one for me. I think personally, it's gonna go. The bottom, it's really close to a middle. It just wasn't that entertaining. I was just bored. Like, I just didn't care. I just didn't. And, there's no Queer Eye personalities to, like, bring it all the way around. But I do think that if I had this show, like, a decade ago, I think that I actually would have it would have helped me out a lot. So, that's what it is. I think that's. I'm going to leave it there.
So you're going bottom, just to confirm.
I'm going to go with bottom.
Okay.
I'm just going to go with bottom. Max, what did you want to talk
about? Sorry for the delay. I want to talk about German Big Brother. I may have said Bachelor before, but I meant Big Brother.
You definitely said Bachelor.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, so the only currently running Big Brother house, to my knowledge, is in Germany. So there's just like 20 people in this house who don't know about coronavirus. So they told them about it on like a live show the other day, but they sent everybody like, videotapes of all their family members saying, hey, it's okay. But anyway, that's a wild situation, but also there's a BBC drama written by Charlie, what's his name? Charlie something or another, the guy who wrote Black Mirror, that is about this exact situation where like a zombie outbreak comes out. Okay, not exactly the same situation. You know what I mean? But the people in the Big Brother house don't know about it. Any questions?
Your
Oh no! I just want to hear your step-by-step guide that we go from pandemic to zombie attack.
They're basically the same thing.
Okay, you're on this boat too. Can you help me like make jumps?
Have you not seen any zombie movie ever? It's like some disease breaks out, then humans, whatever. Then we experiment with the vaccine. Vaccine goes haywire. Then everyone's a freaking mutant and a zombie.
Like,
there you go.
In this case, the exact disease is not important. The concept of people who are just like blissfully unaware because they're on a reality show. That's what's really important in this case.
In the world, like the world is effectively gone to shit.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So the Big Brother thing though, they did like a whole like live show like reveal of this, right? Like did that happen like last night or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's happened now. So they now know. I gotta know. Did anybody see it? Did you watch it?
I read a description of it. I did not watch it.
So like, I'm really dying to know. Did anybody freak out?
One girl cried. That's about it.
No freakouts? Well, I guess the crying's a little bit.
I think that counts. I think sort of cushioning it with video messages from their family makes it better.
Did Chris Harrison do the reveal?
What?
Chris Harrison, no. Max, I think you are wrong, actually.
Oh,
Unless
shit.
This other clip I saw of a Brazil Big Brother was a fake.
Holy shit.
Wait, was it Brazil Big Brother or was it Brazil Circle?
No, Brazil Big Brother. Where
Chris, take it away.
They didn't know about coronavirus either. Well, they heard about it since the show. They said the show started in January 20th or something. But they also just kind of cried and they're like, everyone's fine. And like the clip kind of ended. So it wasn't like a huge freak out like I was expecting. But it's also kind of hard to put in context. Like it still is really hard to put in context to what's going on.
Holy shit. The Twitter account for Big Brother Brazil is just @BBB. Sorry, okay. I needed to let you guys know. That's
important update.
Wait, the Better Business Bureau doesn't have BBB locked down?
No, dude, it's Big Brother Brazil.
They were early on the
gifs of people dancing.
Well, I think that's...
Well, Big Brother has always been big on social media. Like, they're one of the first TV shows to really, like, tap into that. So, well, I think definitely surprising at first. And, like, looking back and I'm like, okay, I kind of get it.
All right, on that note, I think that's it for us this week. You can find us on Twitter @HoopWithTheSong. You can find us on Facebook.com/HoopWithTheSong. You can ask questions and suggestions at HoopWithTheSong@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time. Stay safe.
That was a great show.
Spoilers.
Whoa.
Alcohol rules or something. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make sense to not just order, or maybe if you order a cranberry at the bar, you just get a cranberry vodka.
Episode that there's something fundamentally like not right about the way that they show. And maybe it's one of those cultural difference things, like something about just the way they're presenting it is not syncing with my expectations. But it was not that interesting to me.